Dale, what's your position?
Everything's cool, man. I'm back.
Head herd front. Here we go.
Your car is flying.
Capture the flag. NASCAR returns to Fox.
Come on back, straight back. Hey, Jeremy. Hey, bud. That's it, come on back. Come on back. Plenty of room. A little bit more. That's it, come on back.
Get things done instantly with the i530 by Motorola. Only $29.99 after $50 mail-in rebate. Nextel from Sprint.
I mean, my haircut is nice. The dye job, it worked? Good. It's good, huh?
Uh-huh. You charge the batteries, right?
Yes.
And I look good?
Yes. Hey, Dale. We're here for the interview.
Oh, right. Where do y'all want to do it?
You know, wherever you're most comfortable. Thanks, guys.
Joey, you're pretty good, but if you're going to drive the Home Depot car, you still have a lot to learn. I think you're ready now. Sweet.
Fan mail for Denny Hamlin just keeps rolling in. Mitch Gordon from Albany, New York writes, "Hey FedEx, I heard that when Denny isn't racing, he volunteers at a retirement home." Well, Mitch,
Come on, Marty. Is that all you got? Did you see Marty bump me?
And here comes fan favorite, Casey Kane, taking the lead. Boy, he is absolutely dominating. How does he do it?
Approaching left turn in 5 seconds. Another left turn in 2 seconds.
Well, look out!
Slight congestion ahead. Destination ahead.
And Casey Kane wins the race.
Left, 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 left.
Dale, you help me get down to Danbury?
Oh, yeah. Hold on a second here.
It's pretty easy. You get out on the main road here. You go straight about half a mile, maybe a little less, and take a left. Follow that, straight another half a mile. And then you take a hard left, right? And then you go straight a half a mile, take another left. Yeah, that's right, man. You just keep on that.
Thanks, Dale. Appreciate it.
All right, man, no problem. Anytime. Oh, John, the directions.
Let's go.
Welcome along, race fans, here to the NAPA Truck Series here at Laguna Seca. Now we know, everybody, that this track is notoriety, or really its notoriety is for the corkscrew, and so in this case, 28 drivers will only make it to the main event. We're in our first heat right now, 12 drivers, knocked out of a hat, basically with some, basically a randomized queue in a way. And right now, AJ Jones, or really in this case, actually, let's look at this. Excuse me for that. The 41 truck of Ryan Reed is on the top board. You also got Sebastian Kukla on the outside line. You got Blake Warren, the 21 of Christian Vargas, and then you have the 34 car of Tyler Black in that to conclude fifth position.
Yeah, that's right, DJ. Then we got Samuel England right next to him, Austin Murray, Zachary Bilson, Will Goss, Ben Crouch, AJ Jones, and Cole Baker rounding out the field. This is going to be a really interesting way to set the field because we did this at Eldora, and it's a very unorthodox format for a road course, but it's one everyone's really familiar with. And yeah, let's get this thing on the road. I'm so excited to see what happens. These guys could either be really close, wrecking all the time, or they could be spread out because some of these guys are insanely good at road courses. So, yeah. Every time we come to one of these tracks, it's always kind of a mulligan with these trucks due to how, spec these bodies are. So it's really all down to driver and how they can handle the track. So we're going to skip right along here. And, sorry, my computer is really fucking good. I can't help it. It goes too fast. Yeah. All right. So as they're rolling around here,
might want to put the ticker up in a bit.
This track is a bit strange. Oh, the ticker is up. What are you talking about? Yeah, because I have the live ticker going on.
Oh, okay, yeah. Took me a bit because I couldn't see it on my thing, and then all good.
Yeah. We are live, so if we're just fucking up a little bit, ignore us. Because usually we do these in multiple takes. But as they're going around this track, man, I'm just very interested to see how some of these guys are going to take this corkscrew because it's so hard to do, and a lot of these guys are really young drivers. And they're not that experienced, whatsoever. So, I don't know how, as a young rookie, I would be able to tackle that corner. Because that's probably the most difficult corner on any road course. On the planet, maybe. You never know. Because this track is really insane.
It really is, though. And the corkscrew, as we mentioned earlier, is one of the most notorious corners in motorsports. And you see watch the angle they get coming in there.
This is absolutely insane. Stock cars really aren't meant to go down that thing, but they actually came up with a package to actually race on this track specifically, so we'll see how it works out. Pace truck's about to pull off here in a couple seconds, and we're about to take green flag for heat number 1 of 3 heats here, and then we'll see what happens, because 28 trucks make the field for today's race.
Yep, top 7 in each heat will advance to the main show. Then we have the LCQ where another 7 will take those final spots. Space truck is off, you said. Ryan Reed's going to lead us down here for the green flag as the field getting themselves scattered together and bunched up. Green flag is in the air. We're racing here for heat 1.
Sebastian Kukulon gets an insane run out of the first little kink there, and he's got a big lead going into turn 1 already. Vargas on the outside of Ryan Reed. Blake Warren slipped way back already. And
you
these
see
guys
the field
are
already getting themselves together here, and Samuel England trying to make a move on the inside, just like that, to try and get towards the top 5 positions. And look at Christian Vargas move to the inside. Blake Warren's going to try and get the slipstream of the 41 as they race side by side for second. Sebastian Kukulon is already long gone.
Kukulon's just checked out from the field. These two are racing side by side for second position. Behind 7th place, we'll see who's in the transfer spot right now. I believe it's either Austin Murray or Will Goss. These guys will be transferring to an LCQ, I believe. So we will see who makes it through any one of these heats. And this is going to be a really interesting race from here on out because they've all gotten single file. They're all slipping and sliding out of that corkscrew.
Yeah, if you really mess up that corner, you can really just lose a lot of time. And the consequences, too, is that you can literally bring the truck off the track, and that will cost you a lot of positions. Kukulon, though, coming off the final corner, he's going to lead the first lap of the event. 10 laps here in Heat 1. Top 7 will advance, and Kukulon looking to set sail unless he makes a grave mistake. This 05 car looking to run away with this heat.
Sebastian Kukulon absolutely in a different county right now. Ryan Reed doing an excellent job for Texan Motorsports. Christian Vargas P3, Blake Warren P4, and Samuel England P5. He's usually up around here at the road courses, so Tyler Black doing a really good job. Austin Murray doing a really good job. I believe he's in the transfer position. Will Goss, P8. Zachary Bilson, P9. Ben Crouch, P10. AJ Jones just recently won his first race, but he is now down to P11. Cole Baker rounds out the heat so far. Man, this is really impressive already from Sebastian Kukulon and Ditech Motorsports.
Yep, Kukulon sits 7th in the point standings, a mere 22 points back, and we mentioned AJ Jones winning his recent race, and with the position he's in right now, that is not where he wants to be here. He sits 3rd in points. A lot of the top points contenders are actually in this first heat. And, you know, this is going to be a bit of a confidence shatterer for some of these drivers if they don't make it into the main event.
I wouldn't really say it was a confidence shatter because these guys were actually placing their heats based off of their points position. So this is actually like supposed to make these heats extremely competitive, but some of these guys know how to get around here way better than the others. Like especially Kukulon right now, because this is actually kind of surprising me how fast he is compared to everyone else.
For real, though, Ryan Reed, though, sitting in that 2nd position, just really kind of minding his P's and Q's. The field game themselves in a rhythm right now, and doesn't really look like anybody's made such a grave mistake to really suffer here in this road course so far. They're driving like they're veterans right now on the track.
Very spread out, very cautious of their trucks. They know it's just a heat race. They're not going to go out and wreck everything that they have. If they miss this heat, they have another opportunity, and you know, I think all these guys really understand what they're doing out here right now. But if I'm Will Goss, this is just me personally, I'm driving the wheels off of that thing to get up to Austin Murray. But like I said, they do have another opportunity to get into the race. Final 2 spots will be decided through an LCQ. And, yeah.
It's like a bottom final 7, I think, from LCQ, because you got 3 heats, correct? So that's 21, leaves another 7 spots open. You know, 7 seems to be the lucky number. You know.
Yeah, I would keep thinking it's final 2 because of Eldora. My apologies. Eldora really has my mind messed up about this heat stuff. But hey, man, these guys are really spread out. It's kind of hard to talk about anything on the track apart from just the drivers in general, but yeah, man, it's pretty tame out here. I didn't expect this from these guys here at Laguna Seca, because Laguna Seca really promotes really close, hard racing, and yeah, they did have a package for this because they did think they were gonna be too like weird in the corkscrew, so we had to really come up with an aerodynamic package for these guys just to make it through there.
Yeah, Tommy Roberts Racing having 2 of their cars in that top 7 so far certainly would be a paradise for them. Have both their trucks into the main event here, and right now they're pretty much running in a solid effort right now. And you mentioned the 70 car, the 70 truck running in that final transfer spot. He's just really hoping that nothing goes bad, and well, Goss is going to try and put that pressure on that 70.
Gonna go on board with Goss actually for a little bit here, just to get you guys an idea of what it's like to drive around this track. And Christian Vargas is actually wrecked out of the 3rd position, I believe. That's a big game changer, and that puts Will Goss right into the main.
Might have just lost it coming off the corkscrew there, and that's what we mentioned earlier. You know, if you drive it in too deep, and you know that corner is a blind spot. It is a downhill sector, so. And it looked like Christian Vargas suffered the consequences out of that, and he's going to have to lose a lot of positions because of this. And that's really going to knock him almost out of that transfer, maybe even out of the transfer because of it.
I don't think he's looking like he's rebounding after we get off this onboard with Goss. In a couple corners here, we will check up on how Vargas's truck is doing. He did have a couple mishaps in preseason testing, actually, at this track in that exact same spot. So, you know, I don't know if Vargas is just really good enough in the corkscrew to make it into the main.
Well, he does have that LCQ, as we mentioned so many times before, and we'll probably say it much more again. You know, he'll learn it the hard way today in this heat, but he might learn it in a better manner once they get that truck repaired after this heat ends. And with the LCQ coming up after the next 2 heats, well, Vargas is going to have to learn it in a much better manner to get quicker lap times on this track.
You see those rookie stripes bent up on the rear end. It kind of just goes to show how good Vargas is for being a rookie and being able to run that high up in the field. We have a battle going down the corkscrew with Benjamin Crouch and A.J. Jones. It's not for a transfer position, but every position counts, of course, because you never know when, another guy like Christian Vargas will slip up there. So you need to have all the track position you can possibly have here and be able to capitalize.
Certainly not in like ideal runs for those guys that are just outside the transfer spots. I know they're wanting to get up there as soon as they can, and right now they really need to click in some consistent lap times and make less mistakes if they want to really catch that front 7.
One thing to really point out is that all of these guys, except for maybe Nick Pericles, man, are extremely, extremely young, and they're all still learning how to drive ovals. So putting them on a track this difficult and them being able to handle it this maturely is actually kind of insane.
I think you also have to consider, the package that the drivers are in. Some drivers come from a late model background, some from dirt, and, driving a truck is much more different than, a late model or a dirt car or sprint car in the case, and so these drivers also having to deal with some of the aerodynamics, such as dirty air, clean air on the track is also a big fundamental in racing here, especially in stock car racing here. And see, they're again going through the corkscrew area looking so far so good, and well, right now you see them slip and sliding. That's also kind of just the characteristics this corkscrew has. You want to get as much momentum you can off the corner to gain as much time and good lap times, and really to get those tires also kind of warmed up as well.
Yeah, of course, and having well-managed tires is another good key to this course, because if you have just any overheated tire on the car, it can only be a right front, left rear, anything. You will spin out in that corkscrew. And speaking of spinning out in that corkscrew, Vargas is gaining time back on Will Goss. We might see a good battle here.
You think the back end damage he got might have loosened the car up a little bit?
Sometimes, short track theory, when you get damage, you actually go a little bit faster. So maybe that actually happened to Vargas, because he did slip back a little bit, but he got the tires back into temp, and looks like he's actually back to normal pace. Because right now, he's only running a little bit faster than Will Goss, but that little increment of time can mean 2 or 3 tenths on the racetrack.
Vargas has really just got to think of the big picture. He's just got to be patient with this truck right now. He knows he's got a good truck, but it's a matter of hand if he can catch Will Goss and be patient, maybe wait for even someone else to make a mistake.
It's pretty...
Oh, someone went off. Someone went off there.
Tyler Black went off. There's another Tommy Roberts racing truck, and he looks like he's got an actual issue here, but we'll see. Actually, that's not the actual spoiler. I was going to say he's got damage on the spoiler, but that's just a
back end is pretty dented up. But that's another Tommy Roberts racing car. Looks like I might have jinxed them way too soon, but double disaster for the Tommy Roberts team. And now with Will Goss in that 6th position, the 34 car is now going to be in that 7th spot. So Tommy Roberts Racing in a bit of a pickle right now. 2 of their cars, one in the transfer spot and one just outside looking in. So this might be a fun race. What will Tommy Roberts think as a team owner? What will be the scenario? Will he let Vargas go for it, or will he let the 34 truck keep out of here? Tyler Black trying to hold on for dear life.
If I'm Tommy Roberts, I'm letting these young drivers race and just let them keep going. Vargas kind of lost his pace, because I think when the 34 came back up on the track, his rhythm got a bit messed up. So now Will Goss is just kind of dancing away, catching up to Austin Murray, actually. And Sebastian Kukla is just walking all over this field right now. And I don't really understand why, but he is so much better than all of these guys at this road course.
I think he just might have figured it out, honestly. There's a lot of grip in that 05 truck, and well, right now, he's really proving that he's one of the better drivers in the series so far. And Sebastian Kukla, as you mentioned, on a whole different zip code. That Chevrolet Silverado has got a ton of speed, and they have found the setup in that 05 machine.
Kukulon last year wasn't even close to winning. I don't even think he was on a team anywhere near the front of the field. But he did manage to always pull together some pretty decent runs. A P12 at South Boston, I believe, for the number 55 Ford. And, when he got signed to Ditech, the team owners kind of knew what they were signing. They were like, this guy is extremely underrated. We need him in one of our trucks next year. So the fact that he's done what he's been doing so far is really, really impressive. And if he can carry this kind of speed over to the main, there's no doubt he's going to get a second win of the season and second win of his career.
Will be pretty cool to see that. Ryan Reed, though, chilling in that second position in the 41 truck. You know, Texan Motorsports, we've known them for their hearty success and really how fast they've been this season. Ryan Reed's looking for something on his belt as well, currently sitting a little bit outside the top 10, the point standings. Blake Warren's having one heck of a season as well in the 8 truck. Samuel England, we've known him for his sheer speed in the NAPA Truck Series. In the 56 car, had exceptional pace when it was the NAPA Pro Series, you know, with the different body of car. And right now, he's doing a pretty solid job in that Red Bull machine. That 56 car for S3 Motorsports, looking good on the radar and looking just as consistent as he's been all season.
Austin Murray, you know, Angiato had a resurgence at New Hampshire last year with Ryan Butcher, and then right after that, Austin Murray was just kicking it up in the pace, and they re-signed him as they took the white flag. But this team really came into its own. They got a cup program going. They're slowly building. They're just doing everything they can do as a team in the FBRL, and I think their success in the trucks really gave them some confidence to go do other things in the FBRL, because at one point they were actually like the worst team in owners points, if you can really believe that, from the success they went on to have after halfway through the season. But man, it's kind of crazy when you really think about it. But Sebastian Kukulon has put a whoop on this field. He has literally beat this field up and put it in a dumpster the way he has treated this heat. And he's just going to go cruise along to win this one. We already know that. Unless he spun out of the corkscrew.
Nope, he's good. He's good. He just got through the through there really fine, so I think he's all set in stone.
Yeah, he's coming out with the last 2 corners. We already know what this call is going to be. Sebastian Kukulon rounding out the final corner. Ditech Motorsports. Really proud of this kid. And he's going to win heat number 1 here at Laguna Seca. Here he comes across the start-finish line. Checker flag is out for heat number 1.
Kukulon will advance, obviously. There's Ryan Reed, Blake Warren, Samuel England are coming across the line. Then Austin Murray, Will Goss, and it looks to be Tyler Black. And the 34 car that will make it to the final transfer spot, if I'm not mistaken. And that will be your top 7 set in stone here. Man, what a turn of events, though. A lot of drivers actually went off in the corkscrew, and we mentioned that being a chaotic corner, and it really emphasized our points here so far, Dylan, and that looks to be the case. You see both Tommy Roberts cars with back-end damage. They've got a lot of work to do to get those trucks repaired in time for the main event. And for Christian Vargas, though, he's got to go to the LCQ, and, well, they're going to have to figure something out, maybe take some notes out of this and apply that later on.
Well, Christian Vargas was insanely quick before he got this damage, so I think they're going to be just fine. As soon as they get going there for the last chance round, I know he's got to be gutted, and you know, it's just one of those things that happens if you're a young driver. You know, you just got to take it, and you got to say, okay, how am I going to get better in the next time I have to do this? And he gets a second chance. And I think he's going to do a really good job. So I have faith in this kid. I have faith in this team. And I have faith in everyone, actually, that finished behind 7th. Because these guys are the top guys in the points. They're not slow. They just weren't as fast as the guys in front of them. So we will see how it turns out. This should be a really interesting series of events. We're going to go to commercial break here as Heat 2 gets ready to be set up and gridded and everything. So we'll see you guys when that occurs. But right now, enjoy the commercials and, yeah. Get this going.
The flag's in sight, Dale. You got it?
All right, I see it, man.
30, 67.
Oh, man, that was a close one.
I got it.
4,000 seconds.
I'm going up the middle. Okay, Dale. What the? Dale, where are you, Dale?
Dale, what's your position?
Everything's cool, man. I'm back.
Hadn't heard from him. Here we go.
Your car is flying.
Capture the flag. NASCAR returns to Fox.
Come on back, straight back. Hey, Jeremy. Hey, bud. That's it, come on back. Come on back. Plenty of room. A little bit more. That's it. Come on back.
Get things done instantly with the i530 by Motorola. Only $29.99 after $50 mail-in rebate. Nextel from Sprint.
I mean, my haircut is nice. The dye job at work.
Good.
It's good, huh?
You charge the batteries, right? Yes. And I look good? Yes.
Hey, Dale.
We're here for the interview. Oh, right. Where do y'all want to do it? You know, wherever you're most comfortable. Thanks, guys.
Joey, you're pretty good, but if you're going to drive the Home Depot car, you still have a lot to learn. I think you're ready now. Sweet.
Fan mail for Denny Hamlin just keeps rolling in. Mitch Gordon from Albany, New York writes, "Hey, FedEx. I heard that when Denny isn't racing, he volunteers at a retirement home." Well, Mitch...
Come on, Marty. Is that all you got? Did you see Marty bump me?
And here comes fan favorite, Casey Kane taking the lead. Boy, he is absolutely dominating. How does he do it?
Approaching left turn in 5
He'd
seconds.
steal a lead on a restart. He'd save an out-of-control race car. He'd get a neck tattoo of himself winning, so he'll feel guilty if he loses. He'd even call another driver's house 30 times in a row the night before a race.
Who is this? Who's this?
If it would help him win, he'd do it. Because Kyle Busch would do anything to win.
Letters keep coming in with questions about Denny Hamlin and the number 11 car. Brian Simpkins writes, "Dear FedEx, what does Denny Hamlin do to relax?" It's funny you should ask, Brian. Denny was just saying that he finds a few hours of yard work to be a great way to unwind.
What can you learn from Tony Stewart?
You gotta sell stuff you love. People have to trust you. You are what you endorse. So any questions?
Why is nobody buying my Estrada glasses? Hello? Estrada.
Look at me, I got a million of these care crushers on load. Nothing. How do you do it, Tony?
Look, endorse things you believe in, like me and the Whopper. I endorse it because I love it.
Okay, you lost me on that one, Tony.
Estrada.
Whopper, flame fresh taste, endorsed and loved by Tony Stewart.
Tony's retiring later this year, so he's been exploring new sides of himself.
I made a pretty brown right there. Oh my gosh, that's magical. You see, Kevin, I believe painting is like poetry without the words. I really need you to stand still. Done.
Let's go.
All right, welcome back, everybody, here for Heat number 2. And Malik Nevins, and you got also the number 40 of Nick Breeding rounding the first row here. Then you got another Tommy Roberts racing car, J.D. Martin. You also got the 24. Who's that? Austin Johnson. Yeah, I'm feeling a bit rusty here. I used to do Hardy stuff for a reason, so my apologies in advance. You got Eric Monaco, and then the 80 of Ryan Butcher, then the 48 car. 48 truck, of Nick Pericles. Welcome back, Nick. And the 62, it looks to be Jordan Presto.
Then you got Lane Sanders, TJ Smith, Kyle Springer, and Bob Burns rounding out the field for Heat number 2 here. These guys ready to get racing. Malik Nevins been looking very quick all weekend. And every test that we did, Malik Nevins was on top. And he is, of course, one of the more experienced guys just overall in the FBRL in the series. So Yeah.
Both Malik and Nick Pericles, we've known them for being staples of the FBRL for quite some time, and, for them to drop down to the NAPA Truck Series can bring along some excitement, really, in the series just because of the experience these drivers have had in the past and how they can use that ability to adapt to the truck.
Yeah, Nick Pericles been helping Breeding Enterprises out this year. They kind of were a little bit getting a slow start to the year, having no sponsors on the truck because they couldn't even get a deal finalized in time. But they got two very big sponsors in Panini and YouTube TV, actually. I don't know how they landed that deal, but very interesting how they did.
Must have had a good sales rep for that to happen, honestly. They must have been very, very good.
Yeah, that guy in the 40 truck might have a sponsor on top of it soon if they get their PR rep and their manager up from Breeding Enterprises on this team, because I don't know how they even managed to pull over YouTube TV. But, hey man, Malik Nevins in that Tonka truck, which is a really, really cool looking truck, by the way. I really love that truck. He's going to lead us to the green here at Laguna Seca. And this heat should probably be about the same as the last one in terms of competition because, like I said, it's based off of the point standings. These guys are all really close together in talent, but some guys are just way better than the others. So, all you gotta do is stay in the top 7 to make it here. Seems like a pretty easy task on paper, but once you get racing here around this treacherous circuit, it's very difficult.
Yep, pace truck is off. Malik Nevins will lead us down. Nick Breeding on the outside here, and the green flag's going to wave. Heat number 2 is underway.
Nevins already getting a big lead coming out of the first little kink there going into turn 1. Breeding falls in right behind him, and Breeding's actually been pretty excited for this opportunity because Texan, of course, is a really, really big team in this series, and well, we all know the news of Huck Davis failing his drug test, and Breeding was right at the door for Texan. Ryan Butcher.
Good down for 4th.
Yeah, he's getting right side by side with Austin Johnson. Eric Monaco getting right up there in it. Nick Pericles and Jordan Presto battling for the transfer spot. TJ Smith helping Presto.
A little bit wide there went the 84. Meanwhile, as you mentioned, the 48 going at it for position here. This is important. You need to get up there as quickly as you can because you never know what could happen within these 10 laps.
Oh, Presto doing a really good job holding on to it on the outside there. You can't go side by side in that corner, but they managed to do it. But Nick Pericles, of course, with the more experience, comes out of it way better.
Here they come towards the corkscrew here. This is where you need to really get your marks together. And everybody looking clean so far in the first lap, but now the field getting themselves already spread out.
Eric Monaco sitting well comfortably over Nick Pericles. So it looks like these guys are really going to be the ones battling for position here against that 48 truck, which, I mean, we've said experience a lot, but that's exactly what this guy is. He's the exact definition of that. And he's helping this team out so much by being there and driving the car to his natural ability. He's doing a very good job, of course.
Having a veteran presence in the series indicates a good sense of leadership here, and that's what can help build your team upwards. And, you mentioned Nick Pericles, he's a cup driver. He's ran some races in the Hardy's National Series as well, and now running some races in the NAPA Truck Series. Nick Pericles trying to make himself a good statement here in the FBRL, and right now, with that position he's in, he might actually catch if he gets those lap times really settled in.
This will be a big deal for this team if they make the main because they really struggled last week. They were the 2 worst trucks in the field that day, so they're right back up here in the midfield, and these guys are literally the definition of the midfield. So if he's beating these guys right now, he's definitely going to be set and ready for the main event.
Again, through the corkscrew they go. Oh man, you see, look how slip and slide they get. You get a little bit of wheel spin coming off the corkscrew if you get in the throttle too quickly, or maybe you mash the gas too quickly, hoping to get some acceleration off that corner. And really, if again you mess up, you end up spinning the car out, looping that truck around. And right now, though, pretty much, even though the leader seems to have pulled a little bit of a gap, it's a little bit closer compared to the first heat.
Yeah, I kind of expected Nevins to kind of stomp on everybody, but it looks like Nick Breeding is actually doing a really, really good job keeping up with him right now. J.D. Martin also doing a really, really good job. Ryan Butcher. Austin Johnson, Eric Monaco, Nick Pericles, of course, in the transfer spots. But Jordan Presto, this is his debut in the series at Laguna Seca. He has never made a start, I don't believe, in the FBRL prior to this race. And I'm just impressed that he's keeping it on track, and he's actually in the fight for a transfer spot right now. I actually counted him out before this race.
Jordan Presto is certainly putting out a statement whether he makes it in or not. Running at a track like this, and Laguna Seca is no laughing matter. I've tried running the track several times in a simulator, didn't really work out too well because the corkscrew would always screw me up, and even the best make mistakes. And right now, really, this Jordan Presto, as you mentioned, he's doing pretty good for his worth right now in that 62 truck.
And we always say these guys are doing a really good job, even though they're only in 7th and 8th out of 12 drivers. But we also have to understand the position these teams are in. They're not all the best in the best situations with teams, but these guys are all really good drivers. It's just a matter of who can get the most out of their truck in the best circumstances. And that's exactly what guys like Nick Pericles and Jordan Presto are doing right now. Even Lane Sanders just being ahead of Bob Burns is actually a really good deal for that team, because that team isn't the best on the grid, but they're doing what they can, and they're doing better than what they expected to do. So it's kind of just a matter of lowering your expectations when you get on that kind of team, and then exceeding them as soon as you meet them.
That really is the best mindset coming in, because I think sometimes a fatal flaw is that some drivers give themselves such high expectations. Maybe you're not the best of teams and you expect, hey, I'm going to win this race. Of course, it's optimistic and, everybody wants to win a race, but sometimes you have to see where the truck runs in order to really give yourself a proper expectation, to get yourself into that prime position. So sometimes you might have to reach for a top 10, maybe a top 15, while others, if you're in a good team like Texas Motorsports, Flipside, as notable teams, or Ditech, you might want to go for a win or even a top 5 in the area just because of the avenue they're at.
Yeah,
whoa, little slip and slide there. I think JD Martin slipped off.
Martin in the tires after the corkscrew. That puts Jordan Presto in a spot to make the main. And man, that is a really, really big deal. Tommy Roberts Racing, that sucks. That really sucks, because I believe every single one of their trucks has spun in the corkscrew so far.
Yeah, I think all 3 of them have actually spun the corkscrew, and it's only the second heat, and obviously, we had 2 of their trucks in the first heat, and, with this third entry, JD Martin, making us a crucial mistake there, and look at the damage to the back end of that truck there, a little bit damage to the spoiler, too, actually. As you mentioned, the spoiler also plays a little bit of an aerodynamic role in these trucks, but he's got to get a little bit of a catch on here to Jordan Presto if he wants to get back into the show.
This team has won, or not won, but have won a pole already. So we know that this team's got some speed somewhere. So JD Martin is definitely going to have a chance to catch Presto. But like we saw in the last heat, who was it? Was it Christian Vargas? Yeah, that's who it was.
Vargas and Black both went off into the same area. So all Tommy Roberts cars wrecked, basically.
Yeah, Vargas, he couldn't even catch up Will Goss.
And then by then, when Tyler Black wrecked, he had tried to catch his teammate, but just couldn't get there in time.
Man, that was a really, really devastating... Oh, Eric Monaco's around!
That's a free spot for a couple drivers there. JD Martin needed an opportunity like that, and that's what you need to really hope for sometimes, is for other drivers to really suffer here in Laguna Seca. And, well, you certainly saw that with Eric Monaco there. Huge opportunity for JD Martin, and that is certainly going to cost Monaco a lot of time.
I don't really understand what's wrong with the Fords, because you can't say Tommy Roberts Racing anymore, because this was Single Z, and he spun around right at the exit of the corkscrew, not carousel, excuse me. This is just a really weird coincidence that's been all Fords. But,
yeah, Monaco's mad in the radio. He's not happy with that mistake he made, and I think he's got every right to be upset because he's out of the transfer spot because of it.
Yeah, Monaco, he's got those rookie stripes on the back of his truck. So you got to think, he can make it up in the LCQ, especially if he was having that good of a run already. So, like we said about Christian Vargas, I have all faith in him that he's going to make the main. We'll just see what happens here,
So far, pretty tame. The leader still not... Well, Malik Nevin's still having a pretty solid lead over Nick Breeding. Then we got Ryan Butcher in that third position. Ryan Butcher, pretty quiet run for the 80. Another car going off in the back there. Looks to be the 9 of Kyle Springer. So no more back-end damage to another truck here in the circuit. And, well, that's really going to be... Look at his car really slowing, trying to get the gears cranked up for this 9 truck. And, well, that's not going to be an ideal, race for him.
Heat number 2 definitely showing to be the more attrition-related heat, of course, because I think we've had 3 trucks spin out alone at the exit of the corkscrew, so... Yeah, man. Jordan Presto, though, he's going to make it right in. I believe TJ Smith might be really close to a transfer spot as well if JD Martin messes up one more time or one of these front runners makes another mistake. But so far, it's looking like both Ditech trucks are going to make it in. Both Anjado trucks are going to go right in. Both Texan trucks also going to go right in. And I believe this is the only Diego Yepes Incorporated truck so far that's going to make it in is Malik Nevins. And he's going to really show up his teammate Cole Baker as of right now.
Yeah, Cole Baker really struggled in his individual heat, and so with Malik Nevins running so well, and it might give a statement, who might be the better driver in the circuit. Sometimes when you have teammates, it's a little bit of a competition in itself, You might want to be nice to your teammate and all, but also you want to outrun your teammate, and Malik Nevins showing exceptional pace in that Diego Yepes number 28.
This really gives confidence to that team after all of the things that have transpired with Yank Motorsports over the last couple weeks. Over in the Sony Cup Series, and Bryce Ballard, Jordan Davis, all that kind of stuff. It really does put an effect on some of these teams because they're all linked to that team. But, as we all know, these guys are always fast. So this is really going to put some confidence back into that team and really give these guys just another boost of confidence. Like I said, I'm going to sound like I'm repeating myself, but that's all it is.
Yeah, it's really just, that's the best way of describing it. Some teams are so quick off the bat. Alliances are also a big thing in any kind of series because, you want to have that techno alliance because that could potentially make you a faster, more competitive team to make yourself also more prevalent on the grid here. Hardy's National Series, there's been a lot of alliances flowing around, and in this case, the NAPA Truck Series, there's some teams trying to get themselves on their feet, trying to get their feet wet as well, and some teams that aren't doing the best in Hardy's are doing well in the NAPA Truck Series, and that's really nice to see. Like Tommy Roberts Racing, despite the troubles they're having, the speed has been there, with their trucks, and it's awesome to see a team like that, rise to the occasion in this series.
Yeah, this series really gives some of those teams an opportunity to show what they can do when they get their equipment right, because these guys bring the same people, the same personnel from the Truck Series up into the Hardy's National Series, and they don't get the performances that they want because of their equipment. But when they can do things like this, it shows other teams like, hey, if we align with you, we can make you more money than you're already making because we can go get really good results on our day. So these guys are really just kind of showing off like, hey, we're a good team. We just need some help down here.
I think also, the Truck Series, it's a lot more close in competition, Like, the bodies are identical, and, you could say the same with the Hardy's National Series, but, the competitive gap in the NAPA Truck Series is much closer more than people think, and I think it's also what makes this series somewhat stick out as well compared to maybe the Sony Cup Series or the Hardy's National Series, because, in those two series, you kind of have to work your way harder, work a little bit harder to get up there, not discrediting any of the truck people, because, they too are working hard, and that's why you see still some teams like S3 Motorsports rise to the occasion here in the series right now, and, with Jordan Presto, a couple of new guys coming in, they're here to make a name for themselves, put that on that resume saying, hey, I deserve to be in a top ride sooner or later, maybe in a upper series.
These guys are always, until they get to the Sony Cup Series, and even when they get in the Sony Cup Series, they're always racing to fill their resume. And every time they hit the track, they're looking to prove something out there. They got to prove that they can go win races in the right equipment when they're in the right equipment. As the white flag comes out from Malik Nevins, he's pretty much walking away with this unless he screws up somewhere.
Again, not a ginormous lead compared to Sebastian Kukulon's, but, you know, Nick Breeding running a good second place run. These guys just really now just thinking of the big picture. They're not really going to go for anything that's not worthwhile here because, you know, they know they're in the transfer spot. So right now, I think they're all just going to take it really nice and easy for the time being, unless they want to really maybe get an extra spot just maybe for some clout or some kind of, like, coolness for them.
Yeah, just showing off at this point if they're trying to do anything, but everyone's so spread out they can't really do too much. The racing may not be as close and exciting as we all thought it would be, but man, it's been really intense with these heats, especially with the cars going off the track, spinning out, doing, you know, whatever they're doing. And I've been on my toes the whole entire time because, like, especially when we get in the corkscrew, you're like, is anyone going to screw up? Is anyone going to make a pass? Is anyone going to do anything here? You know, the slides make it so much more intense, especially if you're one of the drivers, I assume, so.
Yep, coming through the final few corners, you know, the top four looking pretty self and steady right now. And off the final corner, Malik Nevins for the Diego Yepes Incorporated team rounds the final corner and towards the straightaway. Malik Nevins is going to take heat number 2 of the event. And here comes the rest of the field. There's Breeding, Butcher, looks to be Austin Johnson. There is Nick Pericles, Presto, and JD Martin will be your top 7. They will make it into the main event. Everybody else, LCQ time for them. They're going to have to wait for what will Heat 3 have in store as the field, really these events, these heats are starting to unravel here at Laguna Seca. What do you think about, you know, those drivers leading the race here, Dylan? How much confidence do you think they're going to get coming into the main event?
If you're Malik Nevins, and especially if you're Sebastian Kukulon, you are going to assume that you're going to walk over everybody. It happens in heat racing when you're not with the other 27 cars or trucks on the track. You only have 12 people to compare yourself to. So when you stomp on everybody, you know, you're just going to have so much more confidence. And if you're Malik Nevins, you're really going to go into this race being like, okay, we got an actual shot at this. We're starting on the front row or wherever they're starting, you know, and it's going to be intense. And especially for them, they're going to be driving their butts off. So, yeah, man, I'm really excited. If I'm them, I'm really excited as well. And we're going to get Heat 3 going here. We're going to go to commercial break really quick. And we'll see you guys there. Raw Gator. I'm just going to put on this commercial.
Raw Gator. Raw Gator.
Everything's cool, man. I'm back. Overhead, hard front. Here we go. Your car is flying.
Capture the flag. NASCAR returns to Fox.
Come on back, straight back. Hey, Jeremy. Hey, bud. That's it, come on back. Come on back. Plenty of room. A little bit more. That's it, come on back.
Get things done instantly with the i530 by Motorola. Only $29.99 after $50 mail-in rebate. Nextel from Sprint.
I mean, my haircut is nice. The dye job at work, good. It's good, huh?
You charge the batteries, right? Yes. And I look good?
Yeah. Hey, Dale.
We're here for the interview. Oh, right. Where do y'all want to do it? You know, wherever you're most comfortable.
Thanks, guys.
Joey, you're pretty good, but if you're going to drive the Home Depot car, you still have a lot to learn.
I think you're ready now. Sweet.
Fan mail for Denny Hamlin just keeps rolling in. Mitch Gordon from Albany, New York writes, "Hey, FedEx. I heard that when Denny isn't racing, he volunteers at a retirement home." Well, Mitch,
Come on, Marty. Is that all you got? you see Marty bump me?
And here comes fan favorite, Casey Kane taking the lead. Boy, he is absolutely dominating. How does he do it?
Approaching left turn in 5 seconds. Another left turn in 2 seconds.
Well, look out!
Slight congestion ahead. Destination ahead.
And Casey Kane wins the race.
Left, 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 left.
Dale, you help me get down to Danbury?
Oh, yeah. Hold on a second here. It's pretty easy. You get out on the main road here. You go straight about half a mile, maybe a little less, and take a left. Follow that, straight another half a mile. And then you take a hard left, right? And then you go straight a half a mile.
Take another left?
Yeah, that's right, man. You just keep on that.
Thanks, Dale. Appreciate it.
All right, man, no problem. Anytime. Oh, John, the directions.
Let's go.
Here we along in heat number 3, the final heat before the LCQ. We've got a lot of competitors here. 13 trucks entered for this one. We've got the 61 of Dewey Schramm III on the pole here with the 37 of Austin Miller. Then you've got, looks to be Cody Goforth, Logan Cloud. Then looks like we have the 5 truck here of Ryan Dagby, the 35. Looks to be of Austin Rogers here. And we got Randy Riggs Jr. Then you got the 88. That's a really nice Panini truck there. Larry Hagan. And there, Austin James in the 00. Basically a 00. And then you got the 7 of Christopher Jones. And then final 3 people here looking to be Jeff Bolton, 26 guy of Xavier Richardson, and then the 2 of Cody Smart. A lot of these drivers stood near the back. They're going to be very aggressive here. This is the final heat. Got to get into that final position. Top 7 again. Make it in through the next, really the main event to be exact. So again, 7, the magic number here at Laguna Seca. Though the racing, I think a lot of us expected much better. We might see some action here in Ravel in just a bit.
The racing might be single file, but it's just as exciting with all the mulligans that we get through that corkscrew. I think that's going to be a really big thing in the main event, as well as heat number 3, if these guys are just as, accident prone as the other guys were in the last one. So we'll see. Most of these guys actually aren't really full-time. Like Cody Goforth and Randy Riggs Jr. And before this race, Larry Hagan was on a part-time schedule. Apologies for the voice crack there. But, yeah, these two, Randy Riggs and Larry Hagan, were not full-time. Still are not for Randy Riggs. So, yeah, Austin Miller is actually making his second start of the series. I believe same with Cody Goforth here at Laguna Seca. I don't know how they're going to do this, but they are. We saw Jordan Presto in his series debut do pretty well around here, but some drivers are way more well composed than others. So,
and you got to have a different approach coming into this heat. It's a matter of who's going to make it in. Will you survive is the real question here. Pace truck, full on distance up on your screen there, going off into the pit lane. And we've got 2 trucks leading the front row, that being Dewey Schramm III and Austin Miller here. Pace truck is off, field getting set to go green, and heat 3 is underway.
It's all a matter of who gets the best run out of this little kink here. So far, Dewey Schramm doing a really good job. Austin Miller right on his tail. And if this is anything like any of the other heats, Dewey Schramm might just walk away with this one. But Austin Miller is a really, really good driver, so we'll see about that one. Logan Cloud as well.
Cloud filing the 3rd. The battle for 4th is on. Cody Goforth stuck on the outside groove here. That's not really where you want to be, but the lines do inverse from time to time as Austin Rogers makes an aggressive pass there. Goforth looking to fight back. He's got a good amount of steam on that upper groove here. The lines are, remember, going to switch here, and Cody Goforth will have the right of way into the corner.
Cody Goforth doing an insanely good job. Same with Austin Rogers, man. he's also one of the ones that just made a debut as they're side by side through this corner. You can't do
You
that.
see they checked up. Look how much they had to check up because of that, and Austin Rogers was the one to beat out Cody Goforth. Goforth, though, getting attacked left and right here. The 5-car closing in. Ryan Dagby to the inside here in the corkscrew.
Oh, Dagby got loose. But they managed to stay side by side out of the corkscrew. That's insane. They're doing it towards the back, too. But these guys are putting on one hell of a show so far on lap
Larry
one.
Hagan. Look at Larry Hagan at 88. He might be on the attack here. Just watch what he might do. Will he send it in the corner? He's got to run to the inside.
Larry Hagan doing a really good job here. He's going right down the inside of Ryan Dagby, going to the start-finish line to start lap number 2. Dagby's just got a little bit more speed, but Hagan's got the inside line.
If Cody Goforth set sail, he is long gone. He doesn't want to see a battle. He doesn't want to be in that battle, excuse me there. And he's just trying to run off here. Dagby gets himself composed. Ahead of him, Austin James in the back trying to find positions there, trying to find some kind of ground, but unable to really get past Christopher Jones.
Christopher Jones holding his own here. Randy Riggs Jr. right outside the transfer spot. And these guys, these top 3 just pulled away from everyone else the same way that Sebastian Kuklon pulled away, but it's 3 trucks this time doing it. Austin Rogers up here in P4 doing an actually really good job for a brand new team. Did not expect the success from this team that has happened to them, but they have showed up so far. Iowa, they had a really good run, and so far today they're having a really good run. So, like we've mentioned, this series is a really good opportunity maker for some teams, and for Gatlin Downey Incorporated, you know, hiring Austin Rogers, very young kid, you know, we'll see if he makes this race. I think he might if he doesn't make any mistakes.
Austin Rogers also does have that part-time Red Bull campaign in the 5-car for the Hardee's National Series. Ran a very good race in New Jersey. Austin Rogers already showcasing some sparks in his career. And, you know, when you're a young driver, there's a ceiling to kind of be held at the moment, or really there's an unlimited ceiling, I would say, because there's so much potential in a youngster that you could really teach to get them towards the best in terms of the racetrack.
Yeah, of course. And, you know, being in that Red Bull program, you have access to a lot of driver training that, you know, most of these other guys don't have. So he's probably a little bit more prepared for this race than some of the other people in the race, like Cody Goforth and, you know, Larry Hagan. But he's still just as young as them, and it takes knowing how to drive the truck well to be able to put themselves in a position like this.
For real, though. Top 3, though, having a good old breakaway from Austin Rogers. They're actually all clumped up together here. And right now, the 61 Dewey Schramm having a very good race. And top 3, ooh, Logan Cloud slipping and sliding off the corkscrew there. But they are just on their whole old island there. And the field again getting through that corkscrew here. Everybody looking, again, slipping, sliding. There goes Austin James spinning around. Clips a little bit of the tire barrier there, but he's going to be way back of the field. He's got a lot of ground to make up.
Austin James already wasn't towards the front and then just spins out in heat number 3 here. That's got to be one of the most unfortunate feelings as a race car driver. You're already not really running too well, and then you just get caught up in some mistake.
Yeah, for real, though. You know, making a mistake like that, and you seem to be the only one, can be disheartening. And Austin James, you know, running now dead last, basically. You know, he's got to hope for other drivers to really kind of fail under pressure, really. Or fall under pressure, excuse me.
Yeah, you know, either one works, because failing under pressure is about the same meaning for that one. Because, you know, when you spin out under pressure, you basically failed your team as a race car driver. And it's really hard to overcome that feeling, especially just the guilt that you feel from the immediate spin, and it's hard to get your head right back in the game. And I'm sure that's exactly what Austin James, as a team owner and as a driver, is feeling right now.
Yeah, indeed. You know, like, you don't really want to, like, make a mistake. You know, as an owner, you're kind of a role model as well.
Yeah, you know, every time he goes in that team meeting to lead the drivers, and he knows he's a driver, when he makes a mistake, it's all on him. Unless he gets wrecked by somebody or whatever, he's still going to put it all on himself because he's the team owner. It's his team. It's his money. It's his equipment. You know, he's going to put that all on himself. So Austin James, I'm sure he's going to be fine in the LCQ if he really gets that pace up and gets that truck repaired. But as of right now, he's definitely not making it into the main.
Yeah, I think Hagen actually fits that final transfer spot in the 88. You know, great run for Larry Hagen at the moment if he can really just keep that car settled in, that truck settled in. You know, the breeding team, they have a win in their belt last year at Talladega, and I think that team certainly wants a lot more than that. But sometimes some baby steps here in the case. Getting that truck into the show would be probably a good win for them, honestly, at the rate they're going right now, because so far Hagen's run a pretty good race.
Hagen's been incredibly clean so far. No mess ups in the corkscrew. That's really the only place you need to worry about, because all the other corners are pretty tame around here. It's just, that main attraction, the roller coaster-esque corner. When they get into that, they got to really watch out for their tires, really watch out for the traction and how much throttle they put down. So, yeah, man, Hagen doing an insanely good job. Got the rookie stripes on the back of the truck.
Go for it. Looked a little bit wide that time around. It kept it going. Everybody looking, you see again, slippy and slidey off that corkscrew. It's just such a tricky corner.
Like I said, that corner is just like a roller coaster-esque corner. When you go down it as a driver, I'm sure your stomach goes up into your mouth. And you kind of feel like you got to throw up after 10 laps around here. They're going to have to do like 20 laps in the main race, so it's going to be a difficult one for sure. And these guys really got to get their act together. But so far, these guys have been the cleanest out of all the heats, which I really didn't expect. I expected it to be Heat 3 to be like Heat 2.
Yeah, I actually would think it would have been almost like the Heat 2 being the most chaotic. I'm looking at the intervals here. Really, second and third seem pretty clumped up together here. And, they're having a pretty quiet race. Again, they're really minding their P's and Q's. The top three, again, kind of on their own little island at the moment. Schramm just pulling away a little bit away from the 37, as well as the 16 of Logan Cloud. All of these drivers, again, I think they're all thinking big picture right now. But if a mistake is made, I don't think they'll suffer as bad, because look at the distance they've had from fourth on back.
Fourth on back is kind of just trying to mind their own business, and then these guys are just up here trying to keep the trucks clean, but they're also super fast compared to everyone else. And Austin Miller doing an insanely good job. Same with Schramm, of course, because he was a very late pickup by Joseph Srigley. This team is a very late entry into the series. They actually, before their debut at Phoenix, they didn't even hit the track until qualifying, so it's pretty interesting to see what this turned into. Their first run was a top 10. Iowa, they ran well, and now today they're leading their heat. So very, upward progression for this number 61 team, and I'm sure this has to put a lot of confidence in that young driver.
Srigley as an owner is a very opportunistic man and will take as much action as he can to get his team, in an effective spot. And, with this right now, this is great for Schramm's confidence, too. And again, we're going to say confidence a lot because, when you're in the lead or running near the front, you run up some quick lap times here, make no mistakes, run a perfect race. That helps your driver's self-esteem. It makes you feel more competitive. And when that keeps going, you're going to be a much more effective racer and a monster to deal with.
When you make passes as a confident driver, it can either end in disaster or one of TV's best moments to watch. We've seen it with guys like Nick Mace. We've seen it with guys like Dejon Weeks. Guys that always are confident under the brakes, always confident to pass, and they make spectacle races. We've seen Dejon Weeks, Ryan Griffin has some of the best races that you can have in the Sony Cup Series, and that's because they started out like Dewey Schramm and they got their confidence up and they ended up being one of the best drivers in the series, and that's everyone in this race's goal, everyone at the track's goal. So
see Larry Hagen's up to the 6th position. Let's check up on him. I think something might have happened to one of the trucks, maybe. The 5 looks like he might have had an issue there, so Ryan Dagby might be correct here on my screen, but I think he might have messed up at some point. Might be wrong on that part, but I saw Hagen was running near the transfer spot. Maybe something else happened that might have caught us off guard for a moment, but it's just so much going on. It may not seem like much action, but even we will miss some of the fun going on. Yeah, it looks like he went off in the corkscrew again.
They're going to do some time travel here. Dagby just goes off, gets in the tires. He gets it going pretty quick, though. He didn't lose too much ground. There shouldn't be too much damage on the truck. It's not as much as it was on the Tommy Roberts truck, so yeah, I think he'll be okay. I think he could actually run the truck like that in the LCQ, if I'm being honest. But he's going to have to go to the LCQ. Samuel England, his teammate, though, has made it into the main. So S3 Motorsports, they're disheartened, but they have a truck in the show, so they don't really need to be too upset about that one.
Well, I think every team wants all of their trucks to make it in the show, so either way, some disappointment is bound to be inevitable here in Laguna Seca. Cody Goforth, again, running a very good race. And the Ford machine here, Cody Goforth, has not had the most successful of careers, to say the least. In Tommy Roberts Racing in the Hardy's National Series, made some races for the team, but just, the car not being in really up to his driving abilities, and him moving down to a part-time campaign in the trucks. I believe it's a part-time campaign, but Cody Goforth showing that he's got what it takes. Put him in a good car and maybe he'll prosper. And right now he's running in a transfer spot, not in 7th, but in a spot where he can make it in.
The Ford truck is full-time, but Cody Goforth is not in that truck full-time. He shares the truck with Eric DeMax, the Daytona winner, and I'm sure that's got to be a big help, especially around this road course with a guy like Eric DeMax, who, while he has some history doing not so good in the Sony Cup Series at road courses, he runs all over the place on these kind of tracks. He does racing in Japan, he's done Formula events, he's done, everything you possibly can as a young driver, and that's his driver coach. So right now, with Eric killing it in the Sony Cup Series, I'm sure Cody Goforth has had a very steady improvement on road courses and ovals especially.
Yeah, for real though, like having maybe Eric DeMax as a coach as well is, you figure out areas that you're weak in and what you're strong at, and that's the matter of how you apply yourself to that advice you're given, that makes you much quicker. And Cody Goforth seeming to learn that right now in that Ford machine, running a very good position right now. White flag is in the air, and again, the top 3 really just kind of chilling together, like Dewey Schramm just quietly in that first position. Nothing really from the crew chief or the spotter, really nothing to complain about from his truck. It's pretty much a perfect race for the top 3.
Top 3 really settled in here. Austin Miller, Logan Cloud kind of really hanging out. Joseph Sregley's definitely going to be happy about the 16 and the 61, but the 63 is actually going to make it in the show. Randy Riggs making his debut this year, but raced the full season last year, so Joseph Srigley picked him up for the remaining open races from the 63, and this was one of them. So Randy doing a really good job so far, and looks like Christopher Jones, Ryan Dagby, Jeff Bolton making his debut, by the way. Cody Smart, Xavier Richardson, and Austin James are going to have to go to the LCQ.
Well, let's see what they go through the corkscrew. It's a matter of who will make it through alive, and right now everybody looking solid, so looks to be set in stone. So right now here they come through the final few corners, the top 3 just minding their P's and Q's, and Dewey Schramm off the final corner is going to win heat number 3 of the event. And here come the rest of the field there, Miller, Cloud, and then the big distance a ways back from 4th. Let's see, man, it's taken forever. And there you go, there's the rest of the field coming down, Hagen, a couple of others coming in, and well, that's your top 7 set in stone. As we mentioned, once they got through the corkscrew, pretty much set the deal.
Yeah, the racing may not be the closest around these heats, but once it gets to the main LCQ and all that kind of stuff, it might be a little bit closer towards the front at least. So we'll see if Sebastian Kukulon does what he did in Heat 1 to the rest of the field. I don't really think he will, but we will see. Dewey Schramm, though, wins Heat number 3, Austin Miller P2, Logan Cloud P3, and then you can see the rest of the order right there. And this main should be either boring but interesting or exciting but interesting. Either way, this is going to be a really interesting race, and I think it's going to be a fun one to commentate. But we got the LCQ to get through first, so let's get that field set right up, and we'll be right back. But we're going to take you to commercial break real quick.
The flag's in sight, Dale. You got it?
All right, I see it, man.
30, 67.
Oh, man, that was a close one.
I got it. 4,000 seconds.
I'm going up the middle.
Okay, Dale.
What the?
Dale, where are you, Dale?
Dale, what
your position.
Everything's cool, man. I'm back.
Or hadn't heard from you. Here we go.
Your car is flying.
Capture the flag. NASCAR returns to Fox.
Come on back, straight back. Hey, Jeremy. Hey, bud. That's it, come on back. Come on back. Plenty of room. A little bit more. That's it, come on back.
Get things done instantly with the i530 by Motorola. Only $29.99 after $50 mail-in rebate. Nextel from Sprint.
I mean, my haircut is nice. The dye job at work,
good.
it's good, huh?
You charged the batteries, right? Yes. And I look good? Yes. Hey, Dale. We're here for the interview. Oh, right. Where do y'all want to do it? You know, wherever you're most comfortable. Thanks, guys.
Joey, you're pretty good, but if you're going to drive the Home Depot car, you still have a lot to learn. I think you're ready now. Sweet.
Fan mail for Denny Hamlin just keeps rolling in. Mitch Gordon from Albany, New York writes, "Hey, FedEx. I heard that when Denny isn't racing, he volunteers at a retirement home." Well, Mitch,
Come on, Marty. Is that all you got? Did you see Marty bump me?
And here comes fan favorite, Casey Kane taking the lead. Boy, he is absolutely dominating. How does he do it?
Approaching left turn in 5 seconds. Another left turn in 2 seconds.
Well, look out!
Slight congestion ahead. Destination ahead.
And Casey Kane wins the race.
Left.
Dale, you help me get down to Danbury?
Oh, yeah. Hold on a second here. It's pretty easy. You get out on the main road here. You go straight about half a mile, maybe a little less, and take a left. Follow that, straight another half a mile. And then you take a hard left, right? And then you go straight a half a mile.
Take another left?
Yeah, that's right, man. You just keep on that.
Thanks, Dale. Appreciate it.
All right, man, no problem. Anytime. Oh, John, the directions.
This year, winning means more, and Kyle Busch would do anything to win. He'd steal a lead on a restart. He'd save an out-of-control race car. He'd get a neck tattoo of himself winning so he'll feel guilty if he loses. He'd even call another driver's house 30 times in a row the night before a race.
Who is this?
Who's this?
If it would help him win, he'd do it. Because Kyle Busch would do anything to win.
Letters keep coming in with questions about Denny Hamlin and the number 11 car. Brian Simpkins writes, "Dear FedEx, what does Denny Hamlin do to relax?" It's funny you should ask, Brian. Denny was just saying that he finds a few hours of yard work to be a great way to unwind.
What can you learn from Tony Stewart?
You gotta sell stuff you love. People have to trust you. You are what you endorse.
So any questions?
Why is nobody buying my Estrada glasses?
LCQ time here in Laguna Seca. This is where you need to make your mark. The field of getting themselves clumped up together. You got AJ Jones near the front row of the field trying to get themselves actually caught up to the pace truck here. This is a money time, honestly. You gotta be in that top 7 to make it into the main event, and that's really up for you to decide your fate here today. We already had 21 drivers locked into this event just based on where they finished in their individual heat, and now with only a handful of people left, well, again, you gotta decide your fate. Make little to no mistakes, and from there on, if you can get in that top 7, crack that area, that's where you're going to be. AJ Jones, high up in the point standings. There you see Christian Vargas as well. So many big teams from across this avenue here in the NAPA Truck Series. All these drivers, they all want one thing out of this one. They want to make it to the main event and to win the well-acclaimed prize here in Laguna Seca. As they round through the corkscrew here, everybody getting themselves gathered together again. It's a matter of who will mind their P's and Q's and who will be desperate to get to that 7th and final spot on the grid. For a lot of people as well, I do need to note this. If you're in the back, do not give up hope. Hopefully things might go in the direction for a couple people, because anything can happen within these final few laps here. As the pace truck is off and through the final corner they go. So many different trucks. 15 trucks on the grid here. AJ Jones is going to lead us down for the green flag, and there it is. The LCQ is underway. 7 make it in, and who will be that 7? Let's find out. Into the first corner they go through the Andretti hairpin. It looks to be AJ Jones leading the way. Then you got the 21 right behind them. That's Christian Vargas. Vargas looking very strong here. And the moment then you got looks to be Eric Monaco sitting in 3rd. Cole Baker in 4th. That's your top 4 at the moment. Right now, they are set sail. They are long gone from the top 7, really from that 7th place car. AJ Jones on a whole different zip code at the moment. Looks to be the 21 sitting in 2nd. That's all they've got to do for the time being. If they can really make minimal mistakes, that's going to be the idea here coming into this LCQ. And AJ Jones having an exceptionally good start here, trying to run the distance here with this 12 machine.
Jones doing a really good job to keep the lead right now over Vargas. Vargas was incredibly fast in his heat, and all of these guys are actually really, really close together compared to how the heats were. But Jones doing a really good job keeping this lead. Christian Vargas keeping right behind him. Eric Monaco P3, Cole Baker P4, Zachary Bilson P5, Ryan Dagby P6, and Bob Burns rounding out the transfer spot for the LCQ.
Springer wanted to make a move on the bottom there. You saw him kind of peak a little bit, but just didn't have the momentum and time to catch Bob Burns. And that's how clumped up this top 7's going to be here. As you saw AJ Jones trying to pull away, the 7th place spot is going to be the most important spot on the line, because, if other drivers mess up, they also have to have that as a variable. It's a matter of how patient these drivers are going to get, or maybe how aggressive they're going to get, because, this is your last chance. It is called the LCQ for a reason. You've got one more shot, and you got to make it count.
And if you miss the main, it's not like you're DNQing the race. You still get points. You're still going to be able to actually drive next week without having to have this big points gap on your shoulders. You just get the points that you get for finishing like 35th or something like that. It's very easy. You're not DNQing the race. You're just packing up a little bit early.
Even so, it's still a big deal to make it into the main event, because you can get much more points than just simply not being able to race this just because of the heats. So, as they round through the corkscrew, yet again, couple of cars again having that weird slip angle through the corner, and they're still slipping and sliding all across the board. Everybody looking very tame at the moment. This LCQ maybe not as aggressive as we thought it would be.
These guys really aren't putting up too much of a fight, mainly because of the package that we have here. It's kind of making it a bit hard to follow somebody, and that's mainly why the leaders have been able to kind of go away from everyone else. And, it's really unfortunate because they really tried to get this track going, but I just don't think this track is made for trucks. It's probably not going to be on the schedule next year But it's really cool to just see them drive around here. You know, it's kind of crazy to think that these guys made it all the way to Laguna Seca in a truck, you know.
I think I give props to the FBRL for at least experimenting, because then by then you will know which tracks will work and which ones will not, and it doesn't really seem to be the way we will. Just because we're commenting doesn't mean we will not praise the FBRL. Or really, we will critique it just as much as we will praise it, you know. But AJ Jones having a solid effort here, and look at, wow, you see how much curb the 21 got off that corner, and Eric Monaco looking to close in.
Eric Monaco trying to prey in on that number 21 entering the corkscrew. Vargas, like we said. Oh, and Monaco goes around.
Again.
But he gets going. He might come out ahead of... Ooh, he might come out ahead of Springer, or at least really close to him.
He'll be close. No, he won't get him.
I don't think it's enough, but Kyle Springer really happy about this one. But Eric Monaco's got to be gutted that this happened twice in his heat and in the LCQ.
Really a shame, because Eric Monaco made that very same mistake in his heat, and that's going to probably be the kryptonite for this 84 unless someone else does the exact same thing as what Monaco did just now. But Monaco is now going to have to be on the attack constantly in order to get himself back into that transfer spot.
And Monaco, you know, this team has got to be punching themselves in the head unless something else happens, which you never know. Monaco's in a prime spot to get right back into the race. He's only P8, and if someone up here messes up, then he's going to take that position right back.
Yep, AJ Jones, though, just, again, a comfortable gap. But, again, Christian Vargas just running in that second spot. He was under pressure from Monaco before Monaco made the mistake. As, again, they round through the corkscrew. Cole Baker, as a result of this, ends up in the third position. And, wow, look how sliding they get. It's like a dirt track, as you mentioned. And, really, it's just all these drivers are just hoping now for a driver, another one, to make a mistake. It's really just a matter of persistence too, because if you have that, and you know, you have to hope for all these other drivers to mess up, and you know, don't get too optimistic though, and where you too make a mistake as a result.
Yeah, you know, and road courses, especially with young kids, older people as well, you know, in the series driving, there's going to be some accidents and there's going to be some mishaps. You know, it just happens. It happens to anyone, but there's definitely going to be a lot more, and it's going to be a lot more frequent in a series like this. So these guys, they get discouraged, but they should also expect it going into here. It's like going into Dover and knowing that some point in your career you're going to hit the damn wall. It's going to happen, you know.
I think it's also a good learning curve for a lot of like these young drivers, and even for the veterans alike, because you know, this is such an unfamiliar racetrack for many drivers, but across the motorsports avenue, this is one of the most notable and iconic tracks in America. You know, the well famous corkscrew. You know, with open wheel racing, we've seen some exceptional overtakes, close moments there, and just how bizarre the geometry is on that.
Especially in a stock car, you know, you kind of wonder what it would be like to drive up that thing one day. It would certainly
down it.
Not even be close to a fun time for those guys' bodies, but man, it would be really cool to watch. And the fact that that corner's even there is crazy, you know, so.
It really is. Like, I know we've talked about the corkscrew so many times, but there's also so many other challenging corners on the track. The Andretti hairpin, you feel like you can get as much momentum as you can, but you could simply drive it off as a result. Turn 11, you know, the final corner of the track can be a bit deceiving. You could send a dive if you've got it in check. You know, if you got the momentum, you got the slipstream maybe, or the momentum to really attack, but other than that, though, it's so hard to really pass at this track. You really just have to wait for a driver to make a mistake in order to get a free position.
Yeah, and it, you know, that's not the way the drivers ever want to have it done, but that's how this racing is at this track with these trucks.
Yeah, it really is, honestly. But you see the gap kind of closing down a little bit here. AJ Jones kind of losing some momentum here because Christian Vargas is putting a little bit of pressure.
Vargas is right behind Jones, and you gotta, if you're Jones, You're the points leader. You shouldn't really be too stressed. If someone's behind you,
just
and
went
right as
off.
I say that, he spins out of the lead, but he might be in a position to still be in the race, and he's going to keep in the race.
Gets the car cranked up. Bob Burns gets around him on the outside groove. And that is going to be costly for him because here comes Kyle Springer to try and catch him. That's going to be for 6. Remember this. AJ Jones is now going to be in that 6th spot.
6th spot, Kyle Springer, P7, Eric Monaco, P8, and Lane Sanders in the pits for some reason. We'll check up on that after the race. And Vargas is now going to assume the lead after having some really strange events happening to him in the first heat that he was in. You know, he spins out in the corkscrew. He gets put in the LCQ, and now he's in a winning position to do this. Cole Baker, P2, Zachary Bilson, P3. I don't even think Bilson had any issues in his heat. I'm pretty sure he just didn't run well, but he actually made it up in this LCQ, and then really showed up here. And then Ryan Dagby, Bob Burns, AJ Jones, and Kyle Springer round out the top 7. Eric Monaco right outside their P8. He just wishes AJ Jones was sideways for a little bit longer. But man, Xavier Richardson, Ben Crouch, man, what a tough break for this team. This team is usually extremely fast.
Yeah, it really is kind of a shame. Ooh, a little bit of a slip
And
angle. He spins it around.
Oh man, this sucks, man. He just keeps spinning, or they all just keep spinning out there. It's so strange. It's such a tricky part of the course, but you know, you got to learn how to drive it at some point. And I feel like that's going to happen a couple times in the main.
Lane Sanders looked like she had some kind of issues there, so I'm not sure what happened with the 89 truck. But right now, though, the 21 and the 77, you know, they're first and second at the moment. They're just really now, again, minding their P's and Q's, getting into a rhythm right now. But, you know, Cole Baker, maybe good hope for that 21 to make a mistake.
Yeah, 21, man, he's kind of cruising right now, and he's doing as much as he can to keep the lead. Cole Baker doing the same exact thing. Same with Bilson, Dagby, Burns. Burns having a really good run, actually, versus his performance in the other heat that he was in. I think he was actually last, and then he's now in the transfer spot. So, you know, going to an LCQ, it gives actually some of these teams an advantage. They could actually be faster in the main than they were in their heat because they have more track time. They can get more out of their setup, and they can do changes.
My apologies there. I made a mistake with Lane Sanders there, guys. So I do apologize in advance. Lane, in the chat, 100% on me there. But other than that, though, the 21 really just, again, good distance over Cole Baker. That is first and second. Sitting in third, though, how about that? That truck in third doing a pretty solid job. Quiet effort.
Yeah, Bilson always very quiet. You know, even in his efforts last year, he was just very quiet in everything that he did. And I believe Bilson is probably one of the better drivers in the series. He's just very underrated. It's like I don't really know who to compare him to in the Cup Series, but he's very quiet and silent but deadly when he does show up at the front. You don't really expect it.
Yeah, it's silent but deadly sometimes. Sometimes you need drivers really like that, honestly, because, you know, sometimes when you're under the radar, you can be very threatening when you're in race pace because, you know, drivers will be like, where'd you come from? And sometimes that's the case.
Yeah, like, you know, it'll catch a driver so off guard when they see this Irwin Tools Ford behind him because Bilson, I'm going to be honest, he's not really the most experienced at qualifying. You know, he's never been the best at putting a car up front on a single lap. But on race pace and on a sheet, you know, he's really, really good. And he manages to just surprise the field every time he does one of those from the mid-pack to the top 5 drives that he's actually pretty notorious in this series for doing.
Yeah.
And Vargas, I believe he's going to keep leading this thing. About to take the white flag here, and this number 21 barefoot Ford Raptor. I'm sure this team has got to be a bit relieved as long as they make it through these corners very safely. And yeah, man, he's really going to be excited that he's going to be in the main after all the peril that he went through and all the stress from the heat races, I'm sure. But, man, it's such a difficult time to be in an LCQ. Your ego gets a little bit shattered, and you're kind of just expecting something bad to happen as soon as you get into one of these races, especially when you've already made a mistake. But when you get your stuff right and you get it all together and you finish the race at P1, that's got to be a sigh of relief. So this number 21 is going to come down here through this corkscrew. We'll see what happens here. Usually they don't mess up on the white flag, but we'll see. You never know down here.
Up here they come through the corkscrew for the final time there, and so far looking pretty solid in their effort. Oh, a little bit of slide off the corner by Bilson, but everybody looking strong. Let's see, and everybody, yep, looks to be safe and settled in for everybody else. Apologies for the background noise in the background there earlier when you heard that, but other than that, though, here they come off the final corner. It looks to be Christian Vargas. Off that final corner and down the front stretch, it looks to be Christian Vargas that will win the LCQ. He's going to make it in just fine, and here comes Baker, Bilson, and then here comes 4th through 7th, Dagby, Burns, and Jones. Looks to be those 7 people, unless I think Springer is also the other one there, so looks to be the case here. Yep, those are your 7 that are going to make it into the main show, and that ends the LCQ here at Laguna Seca.
Lane Sanders came out of the pits eventually. He's going to round out the race last in the LCQ. Very unfortunate for him because he was actually going to probably be in a spot to where he could have been a little bit higher up and capitalized on some of these guys because he was right around where Eric Monaco and Xavier Richardson are. So, yeah, unfortunate for some of these guys, but we got the main set up, and no one is getting 0 points. No one is getting a D&Q. Everyone's just going to get points, so. Yeah, man, I'm really excited to see the rest of this thing unfold, even though the racing hasn't been the closest like we've tried to emphasize. But we're trying to do the best we can to make this exciting for you guys up here in the commentary booth. So, yeah, we're going to go one last commercial break at the main set, and we're going to go green flag racing here.
All right, I'll be back for a while, so again.
The flag's in sight, Dale. You got it?
All right, I see it, man.
30, 67.
Wow, man, that was a close one.
I got it.
4,000 seconds. I'm going up the middle. Okay, Dale. What the? Dale, where are you, Dale?
Dale, what's your position?
Everything's cool, man. I'm back.
4, hadn't heard from you. Here we go. Your car is flying.
Capture the flag. NASCAR returns to Fox.
Come on back, straight back. Hey, Jeremy. Hey, bud. That's it, come on back. Come on back. Plenty of room. A little bit more. That's it, come on back.
Get things done instantly with the i530 by Motorola. Only $29.99 after $50 mail-in rebate. Nextel from Sprint.
I mean, my haircut is nice. The dye job at work,
good.
It's good, huh?
Uh-huh. You charge the batteries, right? Yes. And I look good? Yes.
Hey, Dale.
We're here for the interview. Oh, right. Where do y'all want to do it? Wherever you're most comfortable.
Thanks, guys.
Joey, you're pretty good, but if you're going to drive the Home Depot car, you still have a lot to learn. I think you're ready now. Sweet.
Fan mail for Denny Hamlin just keeps rolling in. Mitch Gordon from Albany, New York writes, "Hey, FedEx, I heard that when Denny isn't racing, he volunteers at a retirement home." Well, Mitch,
see Marty bump me?
And here comes fan favorite, Casey Kane taking the lead. Boy, he is absolutely dominating. How does he do it?
Approaching left turn in 5 seconds. Another left turn in 2 seconds.
Well, look out!
Slight congestion ahead. Destination ahead.
And Casey Kane wins the race.
Left, 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 left.
Dale, you help me get down to Danbury?
Oh, yeah.
Hold on a second here.
It's pretty easy. You get out on the main road here. You go straight about half a mile, maybe a little less, and take a left. Follow that, straight another half a mile. And then you take a hard left, right? And then you go straight a half a mile.
Take another left?
Yeah, that's right, man. You just keep on that.
Thanks, Dale. Appreciate it.
All right, man, no problem. Anytime. Oh, John, the directions.
This year, winning means more, and Kyle Busch would do anything to win. He'd steal a lead on a restart. He'd save an out-of-control race car. He'd get a neck tattoo of himself winning so he'll feel guilty if he loses. He'd even call another driver's house 30 times in a row the night before a race.
Who is this? Who's this?
If it would help him win, he'd do it. Because Kyle Busch would do anything to win.
Letters keep coming in with questions about Denny Hamlin and the number 11 car. Brian Simpkins writes, Dear FedEx, what does Denny Hamlin do to relax? It's funny you should ask, Brian. Denny was just saying that he finds a few hours of yard work to be a great way to unwind.
What can you learn from Tony Stewart?
You gotta sell stuff you love. People have to trust you. You are what you endorse.
So any questions?
Why is nobody buying my Estrada glasses? Hello? Estrada.
Look at me, I got 1 million of these care crushers on load. Nothing. How do you do it, Tony?
Look, endorse things you believe in. Like me and the Whopper. I endorse it because I love it.
Okay, you lost me on that one, Tony.
Estrada.
Whopper, flame fresh taste, endorsed and loved by Tony Stewart.
Tony's retiring later this year, so he's been exploring new sides of himself.
I made a pretty brown right there. Oh my gosh, that's magical. You see, Kevin, I believe painting is like poetry without the words. I really need you to stand still. Done. It's a metaphor for us.
No.
Oh, come on.
No way.
Reese's. Caramel. You got your caramel on my Reese's.
3 great tastes that taste great together. With caramel. Reese's peanut butter cups.
With our patented Hex-Tech grips, Cobalt tools are tough to put down.
Try it now.
What are you doing up there, Jimmy?
Welding, Chad.
Get in the car. Pipe wrench. Hey, Jimmy.
Cobalt tools, tough to put down. Available exclusively at Lowe's.
When you drive, even a 2-second distraction can be the difference between safety and serious injury. Imagine if I let that happen on the track. It doesn't look any smarter when you do it. 2 seconds is all it takes. Get the point? Drive like your life depends on it. Go to AAA.com/safety matters today to learn how to be a distraction.
The flag's in sight, Dale. You got it?
Alright, I see it, man.
30, 67.
Wow, man, that was a close one.
I got it.
4,000 seconds.
I'm going up the middle. Okay, Dale. What the? Dale, where are you, Dale?
Dale, what's your position?
Everything's cool, man. I'm back.
Or hadn't heard from you. Here we go.
Your car is flying.
Capture the flag. NASCAR returns to Fox.
Come on back, straight back. Hey, Jeremy. Hey, bud. That's it, come on back. Come on back. Plenty of room. A little bit more. That's it, come on back.
Get things done instantly with the i530 by Motorola. Only $29.99 after $50 mail-in rebate. Nextel from Sprint.
I mean, my haircut is nice. The dye job at work,
good.
it's good, huh?
Uh-huh. You charge the batteries, right? Yes. And I look good? Yes.
Hey, Dale.
We're here for the interview. Oh, right. Where do y'all want to do it? You know, wherever you're most comfortable.
Thanks, guys.
Joey, you're pretty good, but if you're going to drive the Home Depot car, you still have a lot to learn. I think you're ready now. Sweet.
Fan mail for Denny Hamlin just keeps rolling in. Mitch Gordon from Albany, New York writes, "Hey, FedEx, I heard that when Denny isn't racing, he volunteers at a retirement home." Well, Mitch,
Come on, Marty. Is that all you got? Did you see Marty bump me?
And here comes fan favorite, Casey Kane taking the lead. Boy, he is absolutely dominating. How does he do it?
Approaching left turn in 5 seconds. Another left turn in 2 seconds.
Well, look out!
Slight congestion ahead. Destination ahead.
And Casey Kane wins the race.
Left, 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 left.
Dale, you help me get down to Danbury?
Oh, yeah. Hold on a second here.
It's pretty easy. You get out on the main road here. You go straight about half a mile, maybe a little less, and take a left. Follow that, straight another half a mile. And then you take a hard left, right? And then you go straight a half a mile, take another left. Yeah, that's right, man. You just keep on that.
Thanks, Dale. Appreciate it.
All right, man, no problem. Anytime. Oh, John, the directions.
The flag's in sight, Dale. You got it?
All right, I see it, man.
30, 67.
Wow, man, that was a close one.
I got it.
4,000 seconds.
I'm going up the middle. Okay, Dale. What the? Dale, where are you, Dale?
Dale, what's your position?
Everything's cool, man. I'm back.
Or hadn't heard from you. Here we go.
Your car is flying.
Capture the flag. NASCAR returns to Fox.
Come on back, straight back. Hey, Jeremy. Hey, bud. That's it, come on back. Come on back. Plenty of room. A little bit more. That's it. Come on back.
Get things done instantly with the i530 by Motorola. Only $29.99 after $50 mail-in rebate. Nextel from Sprint.
I mean, my haircut is nice. The dye job at work,
good.
It's good, huh?
You charge the batteries, right? Yes. And I look good? Yes.
Hey, Dale.
We're here for the interview. Oh, right. Where do y'all want to do it? You know, wherever you're most comfortable. Thanks, guys.
Joey, you're pretty good, but if you're going to drive the Home Depot car, you still have a lot to learn. I think you're ready now. Sweet.
Fan mail for Denny Hamlin just keeps rolling in. Mitch Gordon from Albany, New York writes, "Hey, FedEx. I heard that when Denny isn't racing, he volunteers at a retirement home." Well, Mitch...
Come on, Marty. Is that all you got? Did you see Marty bump me?
And here comes fan favorite, Casey Kane taking the lead. Boy, he is absolutely dominating. How does he do it?
Approaching left turn in 5 seconds. Another left turn in 2 seconds.
Well, look out!
Slight congestion ahead. Destination ahead.
And Casey Kane wins the race.
Left, 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 left.
Dale, you help me get down to Danbury?
Oh, yeah. Hold on a second here.
It's pretty easy. You get out on the main road here. You go straight about half a mile, maybe a little less, and take a left. Follow that, straight another half a mile. And then you take a hard left, right? And then you go straight a half a mile, take another left. Yeah, that's right, man. You just keep on that.
Thanks, Dale. Appreciate it.
All right, man, no problem. Anytime. Oh, John, the directions.
This year, winning means more, and Kyle Busch would do anything to win. He'd steal a lead on a restart. He'd save an out-of-control race car. He'd get a neck tattoo of himself winning so he'll feel guilty if he loses. He'd even call another driver's house 30 times in a row the night before a race.
Who is this? Who's this?
If it would help him win, he'd do it. Because Kyle Busch would do anything to win.
Letters keep coming in with questions about Denny Hamlin and the number 11 car. Brian Simpkins writes, "Dear FedEx, what does Denny Hamlin do to relax?" It's funny you should ask, Brian. Denny was just saying that he finds a few hours of yard work to be a great way to unwind.
What can you learn from Tony Stewart?
You gotta sell stuff you love. People have to trust you. You are what you endorse.
So any questions?
Why is nobody buying my Estrada glasses? Hello? Estrada.
Look at me, I got 1 million of these care crushers on load. Nothing. How do you do it, Tony?
Look, endorse things you believe in, like me and the Whopper. I endorse it because I love it.
Okay, you lost me on that one, Tony.
Estrada.
Whopper, flame fresh taste endorsed and loved by Tony Stewart.
Tony's retiring later this year, so he's been exploring new sides of himself.
I made a pretty brown right there. Oh my gosh, that's magical. You see, Kevin, I believe painting is like poetry without the words. I really need you to stand still. Done. It's a metaphor for us.
No.
Oh, come on.
No way.
Reese's. Caramel. You got your caramel on my Reese's.
Great taste that tastes great together. With caramel. Reese's peanut butter cups.
With our patented Hex-Tech grips, Cobalt tools are tough to put down.
Try it now.
What are you doing up there, Jimmy?
Welding, Chad.
Get in the car.
Pipe wrench. Hey, Jimmy.
Cobalt tools, tough to put down. Available exclusively at Lowe's.
When you drive, even a 2-second distraction can be the difference between safety and serious injury. Imagine if I let that happen on the track. Hey, it doesn't look any smarter when you do it. 2 seconds is all it takes. Get the point? Drive like your life depends on it. Go to AAA.com/safety matters today to learn how to be a distraction-free driver.
This year, winning means more, and Kyle Busch would do anything to win. He'd steal a lead on a restart. He'd save an out-of-control race car. He'd get a neck tattoo of himself winning so he'll feel guilty if he loses. He'd even call another driver's house 30 times in a row the night before a race.
Who is this?
Who's this?
If it would help him win, he'd do it. Because Kyle Busch would do anything to win.
Letters keep coming in with questions about Denny Hamlin and the number 11 car. Brian Simpkins writes, "Dear FedEx, what does Denny Hamlin do to relax?" It's funny you should ask, Brian. Denny was just saying that he finds a few hours of yard work to be a great way to unwind.
What can you learn from Tony Stewart?
You gotta sell stuff you love. People have to trust you. You are what you endorse.
So any questions?
Why is nobody buying my Estrada glasses? Hello? Estrada.
Look at me, I got 1 million of these care crushers on load. Nothing. How do you do it, Tony?
Look, endorse things you believe in. Like me and the Whopper. I endorse it because I love it.
Okay, you lost me on that one, Tony.
Estrada.
Whopper, flame fresh taste, endorsed and loved by Tony Stewart.
Tony's retiring later this year, so he's been exploring new sides of himself.
I made a pretty brown right there. Oh my gosh, that's magical. You see, Kevin, I believe painting is like poetry without the words. I really need you to stand still. Done. It's a metaphor for us.
No.
Oh, come on.
No way.
Reese's. Caramel. You got your caramel on my Reese's.
Great taste that tastes great together. With caramel. Reese's peanut butter cups.
Apologies for that. There's no sound for a minute. So, like I said, finally we are back here and getting ready. Just had to get the grid set going. Thank you guys for sticking with me here. As we're going around here, you know, the racing hasn't really been most exciting through the heats, but, you know, just big thank you guys for sticking here with me. Just appreciate you guys watching this and being involved in the series. Makes me get through my day a little bit better sometimes, so yeah. As the pace truck goes down the corkscrew, everyone else, all 28 of these trucks, going to go right down here. Sebastian Kukulon, Malik Nevins leading the front row. Dewey Schramm, Ryan Reed, Nick Breeding, and Austin Miller rounding out the third row. And you can see the rest of the grid right behind you, and you'll see it on the ticker once we take the green flag as well. Congratulations to all the guys that made it in. If it looks like Kyle Springer's paint scheme changed, it's because I accidentally did something, so just don't worry about it. All right, he had a livery change. Anyway, Sebastian Kukulon going to run him out the final corner. We're going to see if he's going to do what he did in Heat 1 to these guys. And the green flag is out. Kukulon didn't really get that big of a jump as I thought he was going to get. Nevins right behind him. Schramm as well, trailing right behind. Yes, it was very accidentally that I did that. And Kukulon's actually going to have some competition with Nevins here, because Nevins really isn't a slow poke. Neither is Kukulon, but definitely not any of these top three are slow at all. As you can see, Samuel England, Blake Warren side by side. Everyone pretty much in the mid-pack side by side that kept it together in turn one. And if DJ is not here, it's because he's doing something right now. So he had to step out of the booth for a second. Side by side, though, Blake Warren, Samuel England right here. Logan Cloud right behind. It's going to be a really good point today for certain guys in the field. Like the 62, going to have a really good run probably today if Presto can keep it on track. Cody Goforth getting some experience. Also running really well next to his teammate, Austin Murray. So they're going side by side through the corkscrew. This is going to be really interesting here. Looks like they made it so far in lap 1. Austin Murray slipping back, though. Everyone's scrambling for positions towards the back. And Sebastian Kukulon leading this race so far. Malik Nevins right behind. Dewey Schramm, Ryan Reed, Nick Breeding. Top 5 pretty much the same so far. Austin Miller, Ryan Butcher, Samuel England, Blake Warren, Logan Cloud. Letting out your top 10. That yawn is not from the racing. It's because I'm tired. But, yeah, Kukulon doing a really good job. I don't know. He might win this race from how good he is. We're doing only 5 extra laps in the heats, so the race length is going to be very familiar. Doing 15 laps. Just going to check up on the back here. Points leader AJ Jones back here. Very unfortunate, but at least he made it in the show. I think that's all that team really cares about right now. I do need some sleep. Ryan Dagby, Cole Baker, Zachary Bilson back here. Baker really not having the run that he wants, but the fact that he's in the main, I think that team's also pretty happy about. Vargas back here. Will Goss towards the mid-pack. And Jordan Presto doing a very impressive job. P17 here. And, Ryan Butcher's around at the exit of the corkscrew. There are no cautions on road courses like all the other FBRL series. So, I don't know if he's going to be able to have a chance to make up any ground. But Jordan Presto trying to get around Larry Hagan here for, I believe that was no, wait, Larry Hagan passing Jordan Presto, excuse me. But Presto gets right back around him. Austin Johnson going into the pits. Wonder what's going on with this truck right here. But there's a big gap from Pericles to Ryan Butcher right about now. And Sebastian Kukulon is going to continue to lead the field. Apologies for all the pauses. I don't want you guys to hear me yawning and stuff. Nick Breeding sitting here having the best run so far of his probably career apart from his Talladega win. You know, really has a really good program for developing drivers, and I think Breeding's going to be one of those that is going to come out of this actually way better than he was previous. Even though there's no sponsors on this truck, I believe there's going to be a sponsor coming to this number 40 truck pretty soon here. And yeah, these guys are really ready. Oh, and Dewey Schramm, and right as we're talking about him, Nick Breeding spins out of the corkscrew. I feel like we're going to be seeing this a lot. So far, pretty tame out of the corkscrew apart from those two. But man, Nick Breeding and it was Nick Pericles, I believe, also spun around. That is really unfortunate. Here, I have to look back at who spun because I don't even know. It happened so fast. It was Dewey Schramm. That's who it was. Apologies for that one. I really messed up on that one. But yeah, Schramm. Oh man, he was having such a good run. He was P3, getting passed by his teammate there on the replay. But go back to the live. It seems like he's recovering, gotten right back around Cloud. So far, Nevins and Kukulon, the very two familiar winners of their respective heats, leading this thing. Now, what kind of bombshell that would happen, and I think it would be one of the biggest chokes that I've ever seen in this series, is if Kukulon spins. He has been stomping on the field all weekend. Apart from Nevins, these two really have been the standouts of this whole entire Friday session. If these two spin out through that corkscrew, it's going to open the door right up for Ryan Reed to get his first win. And would Ryan Reed love to get that first win because he's been so close so many times. And Texan really just wants to be in victory lane. That's all they want to do. They just want to win races. They're really not here for anything else apart from championships and wins. They're not really, you know, like a TJ Smith Incorporated, where they're just kind of scrambling around trying to get the best results that they can to make their team faster. You know, they're really here for just trophies. And for a guy like Ryan Reed to not have a trophy yet, it's got to be some immense pressure for him to be in third place right now at Laguna Seca, at a track where you can't really pass unless there's attrition. All he's got to do is keep the car on track and steady, and he can have a chance to win this race. We've seen it in the heats. We've seen it in this race as well. All you have to do is keep the car on track, and you will gain positions, and you will do a very good job compared to your qualifying position. Because you can really capitalize on someone else's mistakes. I really need DJ right now because I am so tired. But Nick Pericles, P10, ahead of Breeding. Breeding's still doing a very good job. P11 is nothing to be upset about, especially in your first race for a team. And Cody Goforth, another guy we probably want to give a big up to. You know, this may not be the result that the Forge team got at Daytona. This may not be the run that these guys have wanted the past couple weeks. They've been kind of, as Larry Hagan spins out. But this might not be, you know, the run that they really wanted the past couple weeks. They were kind of mid-pack last week. But, you know, getting a run like this for Goforth in P13 is actually a really standout run for a guy who just entered the series. And I'm going to check up on Hagan, because I don't know where he went. He's right here, right ahead of Vargas for P17 on the track. And, you know, when there's the usual size of the field here, you got to look at it as guys like Kyle Springer having a really good run. Guys like, you know, JD Martin, Randy Riggs are having really good runs. Tyler Black not really on his normal form. But most of these guys are actually having really good runs compared to where they usually are. Austin Johnson and Ryan Dagby went to the pits. I don't know what happened with this 5 team, but they're having so many mechanical issues this year that he's way mired down in the point standings. And this Stofers team is really fast week in and week out, but it's been so difficult for him to get race wins and top 5s and top 10s consistently the way he should be doing when he's having so many mechanical issues. So S3's got to get that figured out, while Samuel England, I believe, is still just in the top 10 right now. No, he's in the top 5. And man, it's really difficult to get that team together. But Sebastian Kukulon really has it together right now. And he is pretty much dominated this whole entire weekend without any mistakes, especially. And I think it's kind of crazy that someone that's just now getting a chance can just kind of sprout out like this. And shout out to Kukulon, man. Doing a very good job. It was lap 7 of 15. This thing's almost over. And you got to think, when is one of these front runners going to screw up under pressure? You know, it's not common for a guy like Nevins to screw up under pressure, but it can happen. It's common for guys like Austin Miller, you know, Dewey Schramm, Logan Cloud. Dewey Schramm already made a mistake, but it's common for guys like him to make a mistake that are new to the series. This is his second start ever. Third start ever, I believe, actually. And, you know, they're prone to make mistakes like that, but all they have to do is learn from it, like we've said previously, and all they have to do is just keep the car on track. And this is one of those tracks where it's really going to toughen you up and make you learn how to drive and get car control, because this is definitely one of the most toughest circuits in America, maybe even the world, you know. And the fact that these young kids are running here and doing this good of a job and keeping it this composed, very impressive to me. And I think these are future stars of the FBRL, of course, because, you know, we've already seen England go on to do things in Hardee's. Edward Ziemba get picked up by Rodriguez Racing. You know, guys from the Truck Series have gone up into the Hardee's Series and done some good things so far. And, you know, just the fact of getting signed to a Hardee's team means that this Truck Series is doing its job. It's getting drivers exposure that wouldn't have necessarily had the exposure if there wasn't a Truck Series. You know, they would hop straight into Hardee's, Meyer back in like 30th, and their career might have dissolved before they ever got a chance to develop. But this series really brings out the best in teams that are trying to develop, best in drivers that are trying to develop. And it gets the underdogs a spotlight if they really, really aren't doing too well in any other series. So, I believe we're on lap 8 right about now. Yes, we are. Coming to lap 9 pretty soon here. Just trying to give you guys something to pay attention to. As they're getting spread out, not really doing too hot as AJ Jones, Vargas back here, but it's such a spectacle to see these guys run around this track. The road courses later in the schedule definitely going to be way more compact, especially the Charlotte Roval heading into the season finale at Charlotte Motor Speedway. That's going to be a really fun set of 2 weekends. And Larry Hagan, Christian Vargas are going into the pits. I wonder if these guys have enough fuel or anything to make it to the end of this race. We could see some pit strategy by the end of this thing. And look at how many guys are pitting. Kukulon's pitting. We're going to see some pit strategy here. It's not just going to be single file here today, boys. In the main, those 5 extra laps really mean something. And this might shake up the grid depending on who gets what done. You know, really be paying attention to Malik Nevins right now, because we're going to see when he comes in the pits if he pits at all. And if he doesn't pit at all, this might be the greatest strategy that this team could pull. Because if you don't pit, there's such a big margin to the guys behind that it's not really going to matter how fast you are. You're just going to have track position. But we will see coming around here if Malik Nevins is going to pit. Nevins did come down the pits. Ryan Reed followed suit. But a lot of guys got an undercut. So we're actually going to see who's staying out here. It looks like everyone else is coming right on in. But Kukulon and Miller so far looks like they're going to be the provisional top 2. Austin Johnson, Nick Breeding, and Ryan Dagby. And, you know, these guys are actually making up a lot of time back here. I don't know. I think that 5 team might have been onto something. The 24 team might have been onto something, pitting them so early. Oh, they're coming out in like a Congo line here, coming out of the pits. And Malik Nevins jumps Sebastian Kukulon coming out of the pits. And Malik Nevins actually takes the lead doing the overcut, but Nevins gets into the dirt. Might scrub his tires a little bit. But Nevins, Diego Yepes Incorporated, they're trying to get their first win this year in 2020 with this Hydro Alliance that's really brought out this team's pace. And Nevins might win this race. See where everyone else panned out. I believe Ryan Dagby actually ended up like right near the top 10 after being around 28th or something for the past, what, 4 or 5 laps. So what a strategy by this 5 team. Some of these guys were some real big gainers. I believe Bob Burns and Vargas. Oh, wait, I don't know about Vargas. We'll see when it all cycles out who was a big gainer and who wasn't. J.D. Martin was definitely a big loss. Something might have happened to him on pit road. But these two are right up on each other. Sebastian Kukulon's very fast. And one day, or not one day, eventually he's going to have to get up to Nevins. Because he's so much faster and he's got the best truck in the field, probably the best driver in the field on this track. This might be a bit exciting here, guys, so get your popcorn ready for these last few laps. You don't know who's going to make a mistake and who's not. Folding under pressure is very common here at Laguna Seca, as we saw in those heat races. And if one of these top 2 folds, I don't know what's going to happen. I think these fans are going to go pretty crazy in those stands. But so far, Nevins is pulling away. You do have to remember, 1 lap on tires means a lot on a road course. And Kukulon stayed out, or pitted 1 lap earlier than Nevins. So Nevins is going to have the fresher tires. And he's got the track position. But it looks like Kukulon just has more overall speed than Nevins. So this could get really, really interesting here. Because we're actually going to just look at the corkscrew cam really quick, see if anyone does anything through here, because this has obviously been the notable spot on the track. The best view of something happening as well, to be honest, because you really can't get much better than this if you're trying to look for an accident to happen. Looks like everyone comes through clean so far. Lap 12 of 15. Malik Nevins pulling away from Kukulon. It might be Malik Nevins' race. You might want to put that popcorn back. Keep eating it. You might want to put it back where it came from. Save it in the microwave for later. Because Nevins looks like he's pulling away from Sebastian Kukulon. Ryan Reed actually doing a really good job in P3. Keep maintaining that place. Austin Miller doing a very good job. His first time here. He's actually the highest running flip side truck. And it's definitely the most, like, inexperienced driver on that team. So kudos to this 37 team. Samuel England P5, Blake Warren P6, Dewey Schramm P7 after spinning out, Logan Cloud P8, Nick Breeding P9 gained 2 spots on pit road. Austin Rogers looking for that Gatlin Downey Incorporated team's first top 10. Nick Pericles P11 doing a great job. Cody Goforth P12 keeping the truck clean, also doing a great job. Zachary Bilson, Will Goss, Jordan Presto giving this team a top 15 run, keeping it very high in the owner's points. Tyler Black right behind him. Bob Burns, Julio Caesar, or Caesar Autosport is actually doing a very good job. Randy Riggs P18, Vargas 19th, and we have a spinner. It's AJ Jones, the points leader. AJ Jones is already having a terrible day, and this really doesn't help. AJ is not that good on the road courses, from what it seems. And if you're going to want to go for a championship, you got to be able to beat all of the elements. You can't just be a one-trick pony around here. So, especially since the race right before the finale is a road course, if you want to win the championship, you got to get your stuff together, especially if you're AJ Jones. So, not a good day for the points leader. Sebastian Kukulon definitely going to overtake him today as long as he makes no mistakes like he's been doing. With just 3 laps to go. Malik Nevins looks like he's walking away with this one so far, as long as he, like I said, keeps all the fenders on it, keeps all the tires on the racetrack. But man, is this a nice looking truck, guys. I really can't get over how cool this Tonka truck is. I really want it to win here because it would kind of be the most ironic. The Tonka truck winning at like a track that looks like a Hot Wheels track or whatever. Like, it looks like a track you put little die-cast cars or little toys on to drive on. So it'd be really cool for this car to win, or truck to win here. Malik Nevins, always been a pretty good driver, very solid and experienced, especially way more experienced than most of these guys in this series, apart from Nick Pericles. And he's kind of showing the kids how it's done here. He's definitely, I think, out of all these guys, made the most laps in a race car, you know, from junior career to now. And it's just impressive that he's able to pull this out for this team and do so well. I think Malik is one of the main components of making this team as good as it is so far. Because Cole Baker, you know, he's a really good driver. He's made some starts in the Hardy series, but he's a rookie. He's brand new. He's not going to be able to lead a team and bring a team up as much as a guy like Nevins would. And I think this might have been the smartest decision Yepes could have made with this team. Hydra Racing just won at Auto Club. And this is going to be a big deal for that whole Hydra organization, especially with all the negativity surrounding Yant Motorsports, the uncertainty surrounding Yant Motorsports in this Hydra alliance. But one thing that is going to happen is there's going to be money put in this team's pocket, regardless of an alliance or not, if they win races like this. So it's not going to matter with whether they're in an alliance next year. They're able to win races. They have the equipment to do it now. So they're not going to have a drastic decline and lose all their money just because of an alliance. Because of a day like this with Nevins coming to the white flag. And this is really special. Because this race may have not been the most exciting, but this is going to be a turn of the tides for the point standings. AJ Jones is going to fall back. You know, Sebastian Kukulon is going to be the points leader by probably a lot of points. Ryan Reed is going to have a really good point stage. Samuel England's going to rebound. Blake Warren, I believe he's in the top 3 in points. Top 5 for sure. Or no, that's Will Goss I'm thinking of. Apologies. He's way back there. But Blake Warren, he's going to jump up in the points then. And all these guys, it's going to be a shift in the point standings. And it's going to really shape up the mid-season. Because the mid-season is the most important part of the season for any racing series. And Malik Nevins might have just put himself in a really good spot to be in a points contender position. Because all you need to do is win, win, win no matter what. And as he's coming down the corkscrew, he makes no mistakes. Malik Nevins rounding out the final sector of Laguna Seca. It looks like he's going to do it. This beautiful California day. We may have not seen the closest bunched up racing today. But man, is this going to be a really good race for this team. Rounding out the final corner, this number 28 put a stomping on this field. And the number 28 Tonka truck of Malik Evans is going to win here at Laguna Seca. Then we have Sebastian Kukulon P2, Reed P3, Miller 4th, England 5th, and Blake Warren P6. And we're going to wait a little bit before we see Schramm and Cloud, Nick Breeding, and Austin Rogers rounding out the top 10. And you're going to see the rest of the field come around here. And all of these guys have defeated Laguna Seca. They've conquered the track, they've made it to the main, and they've finished now. No DNFs from the looks of it. The pit strategy was executed absolutely perfectly by every driver that finished in the top 10 there. And I'm so happy this race panned out the way it did, because I did not think this was going to be as, you know, good as it was. Because this race was actually supposed to be a lot worse with how bad it was. We did so much testing, and it wasn't ending very well. And I didn't even think we were going to end up using this track, but it got to crunch time. I couldn't find a track in time, and I eventually found a fix. So, you know, it got to run. So I'm happy this whole thing got to run. I'm glad this got live streamed. And you guys have been a great audience. Thank you so much for being here today. DJ, if you're listening, or whenever you watch this back, thank you for commentating. Thank you, everybody, for all the support. Ryan Dagby and Austin Johnson. Looks like they had to pit a second time. They couldn't make it on fuel or tires, something. And that's just unfortunate because Dagby and Johnson did a really good job with their strategy initially, but they just couldn't get the job done. So congratulations to Malik Nevins. There's your results there. Yeah, boys, thank you for being a really good audience. Thank you for putting up with all the commercials and all the shenanigans that happened here today. I'm going to save this export and everything so we can get the points done. And, yeah, guys, I really do appreciate it. It means a lot that you guys are as involved in the series as you are. So, yeah, big thank you, guys. And I'll see you, next time. And, yeah, it should be actually a really fun race next time. So, we'll see you when we hit the track next. But for now, adios, guys.